You may have noticed that we humans tend to function best with our nervous systems intact and our brains, limbs, and major organs all connected and happily communicating with each other. Well then, you might be surprised to know that not all creatures are quite so picky when it comes to the intactness of their bodies. Yup, there are some organisms, particularly animals, who can still live and very much continue on with their lives even with missing body parts. Think about it. A headless cat running around your neighborhood? Just kidding, cats can't do that. Or can they? Curious to know what these animals are? Then you better keep watching. Did you know studies show becoming a fan of Superfine will instantly make you more attractive to the opposite sex? All you have to do is subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications. If you hit the thumbs up, it will increase your attractiveness by 78%. Do it now! It's a proven fact. Welcome to Superfine. In this video, we'll be looking at 10 animals that can survive after death. Number 10. Octopus. Octopuses are renowned for being smart animals. Did you know that most of their 130 million IQ-raising neurons are located not in their brains, but along their 8 tentacles? Yup, you heard that right. Researchers think this allows octopuses to become the ultimate multitaskers, since each of their arms can busily work away at some pesky mollusk shell or feel around in some new corner of habitat, nearly independent of the brain. Because they basically have smart hands, these arms can continue reacting to stimuli even after they are no longer connected to the main brain. In fact, they remain responsive even after the octopus has been euthanized and the arms severed. Also, while cut-off limbs do not regrow a new octopus like what a starfish can do, the octopus can regenerate tentacles with a far more superior quality than some lizard's skimpy replacement tail. If you were impressed by what's on number 10, wait till you see what's at the top of the list. Number 9. Chickens. There are circulating videos of a chicken running around after its head had been cut off, and a lot are curious about how this can happen. Some even asked if its severed head can grow another chicken. Come on, guys, seriously? I mean, we get it. We wouldn't want a chicken wing flapping in our stomach after we've swallowed it already, right? So to answer that question, this was not an extraordinary happening. Chickens really do have an ability to do that. When you chop off a chicken's head, the pressure of the knife or axe triggers all the nerve endings in the neck, causing that little burst of electricity to run down all the nerves leading back to the muscles, to tell them to move. The chicken appears to flap its wings and to run around, even though it's already dead. There was even one cockerel who became known as Miracle Mike. Have you heard of him? Well, even though his head was chopped off, he carried on living for another 18 months. However, for Mike's case, the farmer who had tried to kill him had aimed too high and had left a bit of his brain still working in the top of his neck, and that's what allowed him to live. That can happen to a bird, because its large eye sockets mean that there isn't enough room in its skull for all of its brain, so a bit of the brain lives inside the top of the neck. Mike was kept alive for all that time by dripping milk and water into what was left of his throat, and he used to walk around just as he had always done. Amazing! Number 8. Snakes. There was a news story in the past saying that shortly after a man killed a rattlesnake in his backyard, the rattlesnake's severed head bit and injected venom into the man, seriously injuring him. The zombie-like incident happened when Jennifer Sutcliffe and her husband were working in their backyard near Corpus Christi, Texas, over Memorial Day weekend. Jennifer said she spotted the 4-foot-long snake while weeding, and that her husband beheaded it with a shovel to defend her. But when he bent down to dispose of the snake, its decapitated head bit his hand. How is this possible? The answer has to do with a snake's physiology. Snakes are cold-blooded creatures, meaning they get heat from external sources, such as sunlight and warm surfaces. Because snakes don't need to internally maintain their body temperature, they don't need as much energy as warm-blooded organisms do, like us. If a mammal loses its head, it will die almost immediately. But snakes and other ectotherms, which don't need as much oxygen to fuel the brain, can probably live on for minutes or even hours. Number 7. Fruit flies. Here's an interesting fact. Female fruit flies can live for several days after they have been decapitated, and these beheaded females assume an upright stance comparable to that of a normal fly, and can and do engage in complex actions such as preening, flying, and under duress, walking. That's right, chop off a female fruit fly's head, and not much changes really. First of all, surviving without a head is not as impossible as one might imagine, provided one has something almost like a spare brain in their chest that manages walking, flying, and other day-to-day things like circulation and respiration. But wait a minute, How can they react to light when their eyes are on their heads and their heads are clearly not attached to their bodies anymore? Easy. They have a sort of backup set of eyes. Light-sensitive cells in, of all places, their tiny little fly kidneys. So yep, these flies are indestructible. Number 6. Turtles. You probably know that in some remote corners of the world, snapping turtle meat is considered a delicacy of sorts. But did you know that professionals who prepare dishes containing these turtles need to be very careful since their hearts can still live even after they're removed from the body? Yup, it's weirdly amazing. This is possible because the hearts of fish, reptiles, birds, and mammals alike have their own pacemaker cells that take over when the signals from the brainstem are not coming through for some reason, which ensures that the heart still functions for a while, even when the brain doesn't. Now for turtles, the term "for a while" is an understatement. This is because, from their heart's viewpoint, being cut off from the oxygen and nutrients usually supplied by the blood is just a normal day at the office. These animals can die for a long time. How long? Up to 5,000 hours. They can survive that long by what oxygen they can take up from the water via their skin, throat, and butt end, as well as their body's amazing potential for producing energy without oxygen. Their hearts have their own fuel stash, and they just won't give up until every last bit of that has been used up. Well, I guess Celine Dion was right. A turtle's heart just goes on and on. Number 5. Spiders. Male spiders are some of the animals that don't have, let's just say, an interesting sex life. The females not only control how long the sex will last, but in some species they more often than not terminate the males right in the middle of the act, when they come down with a serious case of the munchies. Tough break for the spider dudes, huh? But here's an interesting detail. A male spider's penis can still survive even after it has been cut off from the body. Yup, lucky them. Let's take a quick tour into spiders' reproductive biology. Firstly, male spiders actually have 2 penises called pedipalps, and secondly, they are located far closer to the face than sex organs should be. So during remote copulation, the male either breaks off his own pedipalps while trying to get away, or the female does it for him. And bam! She can have it for as long as she wants. It can just keep on pumping sperm into her. It's called the eunuch phenomenon. And believe it or not, the severed organ is actually faster and more effective than when it had the rest of the spider still attached. Wow! Number 4. Frogs. These slimy cute animals may not turn into a prince after being kissed, but they sure have a bunch of tricks for you after they've been decapitated. After a frog's head has been cut off, its body still responds, not because the brain is giving it signals for it to move. Instead, it is a simple chemical discharge causing a flow of a signal in the animal. How and why is this possible? The muscles of a frog are triggered by electric signals which can continue to help function way after death. So if you try to put salt or any other ionic substance on it, you'll be able to see movement like leg twitches. Number 3. Cockroaches. Whether you admit it or not, it is a known fact that when cockroaches come flying or crawling towards you, you'll end up screaming. It gives almost everyone a near-death experience once that disgusting insect takes a flight to harass its victims. But there is more to this little brown nightmare than we actually know. Cockroaches are often cited to be the only survivors of a nuclear holocaust. Have you heard of that fact? Well, it's true. Turns out headless roaches are capable of living for weeks. Cockroaches do not have blood pressure like humans. They also don't have a huge network of blood vessels, but an open circulatory system with much less pressure. After you cut their heads off, very often their necks would seal off just by clotting. So without the brain, the body can still function in terms of very simple reactions like standing, reacting to touch, and moving. But hey, it is not just the body that can survive decapitation. The lonely head can thrive too, waving its antennae back and forth for several hours until it runs out of steam. Kinda horrifying, isn't it? Number 2. Praying mantises. Female praying mantises are notorious for their predatory skills. They're bigger and stronger than males, and often devour them during sex. But scientists have discovered that not even decapitation is enough to stand in the way of a male mantis looking to mate. This is possible for male mantises because of the nerves in their abdomen, which continue to control the movement of the body, getting the job done. While it may seem counterintuitive to kill one of their own in the mating process, experts say this behavior serves a purpose, and some suspect that those who get eaten but still manage to successfully mate may end up fathering more eggs. Number 1. Salamanders. If a salamander gets in a fight, it may surrender its tail to the enemy as its defense mechanism. This seems like a logical choice, because after all, it can grow a new one in a few weeks' time. This is a pretty complex process, but in a nutshell, Regeneration involves shuffling around the cells at the wound site and assigning them a new specialization. Within the first hours after getting a body part lobbed off, the salamander's epidermal cells in the area migrate to cover the open flesh. That layer of cells gradually thickens in the following days, forming the apical epithelial cap. Cells within the salamander's tissues called fibroblasts also come together beneath that epidermal covering. These fibroblasts are undifferentiated, which means that they're free to become multiple types of cells, depending on which body part needs replacing. This simply means that whatever body part is missing, a salamander can get it replaced in due time. The process is a mouthful, but it surely is impressive. That's it, guys! Those are the 10 animals that can survive after death. Which among these animals would you like to have as a pet? Just imagine having a pet that can cheat death. That sounds awesome. Let us know in the comment section below and we will select a comment to be featured in our next video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, let us know by dropping a comment and hitting that like and subscribe button. Also turn on your bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. We'll see you next time.